Hi, my name is Manfred Schoch, and today we want to talk about new digital work. Before the COVID-19 pandemic, the standard of working was in the physical office. But then the pandemic hit in 2020 and we all learned that working from home is productive and it works. Up to 60% of the employees, particularly those with higher levels of education and maybe office jobs, worked from home during that time. But today, we don't have to work from home because of physical distancing measures, because of containing a pandemic. And we don't need to work in the physical office because our employers don't believe that we're actually productive when working from home. So the big question about new digital work is, how do we want to shape this new way of working? What role does the physical office space play, and what role does the home office or mobile work play? Now, this new digital work is a result of several developments. It's not something that was only triggered by the pandemic, but it's actually a variety of different reasons that led to it. Some of them have been around for a while, such as increased automation, but also market-based pressures. The human resource is rare. There's a war for talent, and we need to make sure that we compete in this market as organizations. There are also technological trends that made digital work much more doable. A lot of organizations that switched to Microsoft Teams, that had cloud-based solutions in place, they really got along much better with the demands of the pandemic, with the digital work that was associated with it than others. And those were technical reasons. But also that our generation of employees maybe is more interested in individual purpose in their work and not so much having a safe job that they never want to change throughout their lifetime. We also want to be maybe a little bit more individual. We cherish diversity, and those are all trends that play a role in this new way of working. But then there are also two major contributors on the right side of this chart. One is the ways of working. The ways of working become more agile. They're not planned as thoroughly. They don't follow processes as much. In some domains they certainly do, but in others, maybe in jobs that you are seeking as digital business managers, the work becomes more agile. We make decisions together, which to-dos we prioritize and which ones we don't. We maybe take tasks that we feel confident in doing, and that is a more agile process than it used to be. And then, of course, flexibility in place and time. That is something that really came along with the pandemic. We learned that we can basically work from anywhere. And all of that contributes to new digital work. There's also maybe a definition that tries to get that whole new digital work thing across, and that's new digital work is a transformation to a modern work routine characterized by self-determined, networked, and human-centered work supported by digital technologies, medias, and processes. There's some research about this new digital work, or maybe only one aspect of it, which is mobile work, that tries to quantify what changes through mobile work. And you can see a chart here with green and red items, and it means that those factors change to the better or to the worse with the presence of mobile work. So you can see here the managers and the workers, and between them there's a lack of supervision. You cannot see or control people in the mobile work environment as much as in the physical workspace. There's also reduced knowledge flow, not only from the managers to the workers, but also among the workers and among the managers. It's more difficult to maybe spontaneously talk to somebody. It's also more difficult to get knowledge across through digital means of communication. There's a term called media richness in the field. The more rich a media is, the better you can transfer knowledge through it. And obviously digital media is not as rich as physical contact. There's also a lack of communication, spontaneous communication. But, and that's the bright side of mobile work, there's increased satisfaction. People think that they can maybe balance their home demands and their private demands with their work demands better. And you can access a larger pool of potential employees because they don't necessarily need to live right next to the physical workspace. And then there's this black bar of cost reduction. And the research isn't clear about whether mobile work really leads to cost reductions, but it can. Why is that the case? Because human resource activities are costly. If you have a bigger pool of employees and if you can maintain them better through them being more satisfied, then you can reduce the HR costs. You can also reduce office space costs because not everybody needs a physical workspace at work. You can have desk sharing and stuff like that, which reduces costs for housing or for the physical offices, rent and so forth. So you can see there are different criteria here. Some change to the better, some change to the worse. And we're really looking to maintain or increase that productivity, efficiency, and innovation, even though mobile work is there, or maybe because mobile work is there. Now, the study finds that mobile work is hardly associated with any productivity restrictions or losses, which is a good thing. The working model of the future is nevertheless hybrid. We don't want, and we'll come to that later in the different lectures, we don't want full mobile or remote work. It has to be some sort of blend of both mobile and physical work. There are a lot of opportunities and risks. We saw them here, and they need to be balanced, and sometimes that's company specific. There might be IT firms that are really looking to get that large potential of pool of employees, because IT employees are very rare. A lot of people are looking for them. A lot of open jobs are there. So they might balance they might switch to mobile work, even though there are some problems associated with it. And then there's also the aspect of, well, if it's hybrid, then how much is the sweet spot? And a lot of studies say that it's 2 to 3 days per week. So basically a 50-50 split. The study also makes it clear that companies who don't participate in this transformation will be left behind. So there's really a need to act and a need to think about what role does mobile work play for my organization. We talked a lot about mobile work and about new digital work, and there are really a lot of different terminologies in this space right now. Some maybe refer to similar things, some to different things, and I want to give you an overview of the different terms that are present. There's co-working. Co-working spaces allow people from different companies to get to one office space that you can rent and work with other people side by side, co-working. Then there's distance work that really emphasizes this flexibility in workspaces. So you can work from home, but it doesn't have to be from home. It can be mobile. There's flex work. Flex work also has that time aspect. You can work wherever and whenever you want. Obviously, there's digital work, which emphasizes the digital aspect, the media through which work is done. Crowd work, which is an anonymous way of working. You can split up tasks and then assign them to random workers who are willing to work for you, to accept that job that you offer to anyone. And then there's agile work, and we talked about agility a little bit on the first slide. And then there's a second stream of different terminologies that wants to emphasize this transformation of work. Something changed during the pandemic, but maybe also earlier. There's new work, new work, which is supposed to say, well, new work's been around for a while, it's been coined in the 80s, but then something changed with all this new technology, right? Work 4.0, which is similar, that it wants to emphasize this digital aspect of work, new digital work, as we call it. And then some people refer to a new normal or next normal, which is basically a steady state after this pandemic or after this after an event, which in many cases right now is the pandemic and the physical distancing that came with it. So as you can see, the work environment is changing, influencing factors are there, and there are some different common terms that all emphasize different facets. Now, if you want to take a look at all these different terminologies and their definitions, then here is a study which we will talk about more in later videos, and in the appendix you can find a list of all different terminologies and their definitions. So thank you for listening, and see you next time.